Welcome back. Now, the half-year period has proven to be difficult for Delta Property Fund. That's as its funds from operations took a knock, falling 11.1% to 8.1 cents. And this was mainly due to increased vacancies and elevated interest rates, which made it difficult for Delta to pay down its debt. And join me now to unpack these numbers further is the company CEO, Bongi Masinga. Thank you so much for your time, Bongi. Now, of course, we do still know that there are pressure points, as, for example, we saw a decline in your revenue. But I do note an improvement in some of your key financial metrics in this half-year period. And, of course, it was very interesting to see that some investors were encouraged by some of those that improvement over there, as we saw the surge of 8% in your stock after the release of the results. So just frame that performance for us.
Well, we're not there yet, but we are quite excited about our performance. I think we are seeing the right matrices go the right direction. I think for us, we are building a foundation now. We've definitely kept our costs within measurable levels. And we've always said, that we will manage costs, and we are collecting. This is a cash business. We are collecting 100% of what we bill every month, but not only, we're starting to also collect debtors, and I think the area debtors, and I think the most important milestone as part of it is during the reporting period, end August, we collected at least about 20 million, and then post that to this announcement, we've collected an additional 37 million. So, for us, that is encouraging. You probably have seen our debt levels have come down slightly, but that's because of our servicing of the debt. Our interest rate bill is still very high. Interest rates, are not our friends at this point.
Yeah.
But, because of some of the efficiencies that are coming through the business, we are able to service the debt that we need to. We're also very encouraged with the increase in our weighted average lease expiry. It's not yet an easy territory for us in terms of renewals, but we are getting there. And, we just need to make sure that we keep on the momentum until the next reporting period.
Yeah. Well, of course, one of the things that you have used to decrease that debt is the disposal of non-core assets. And I'd actually just like to know, how much further do you have to go in that asset disposal program? Because I think that you have said that when you do get to that point, your LTV will be reduced to about 50%.
So disposals for us is key, as set by our board. And part of our disposals is to really reduce our debt levels, which, really render us without much cash left after paying amortizations and servicing the interest. The quick answer to your question is there's about 2 billion rands of disposals that we still need to do. And I think we're fortunate that, our properties are fairly valued at this point. We have gone through a lot of impairments, over the last couple of years. And I think that's why we see, disposals are going on, but at a rather slow pace. But I would rather have that and dispose at valuation numbers. And some of them, we are receiving a premium for them, rather than try to do bulk and then do discounts. This is not a fire sale for us, but I think it's more of an organized way of really trying to achieve and reach the debt levels. But we still have a long way to go. But the one building sale or staggered sales that we're doing, it's really to your non-traditional buyers who are looking at some of our empty buildings and they are looking at conversions. And that's proving it's slow. But, so far we're getting there. But I think the window for us to reduce our debt is putting pressure on us.
Bongi, how would you say your existing tenants are doing? Do you think that they are on a firm footing, or is it that they are recovering from quite a shaky base in the last few years?
So one thing that we have come out, and we're very explicit about it shortly thereafter from COVID, is that because we are such a sovereign underpinned fund, government hasn't come to us to ask for relief during COVID. So we really are collecting. As far as government is concerned, they've stayed in the buildings. We know that they are looking to also own their buildings. So there will be a bit of reduction in terms of that. But we do find that the market for us is still tough. We have mainly B-grade buildings. And, and there's competition out there in terms of A-grade, P-grade. There was an article in the papers this morning that spoke about how, as landlords, we're playing very hard in this market where we are reducing our rental just to attract tenants to make sure that we fill our vacancies. So you can imagine for us who are B grade, if I offer you, for an argument's sake, X amount per square meter and someone offers you X minus and it's a better graded building, it's no brainer, in terms of that. But that competition comes a lot in terms of your private commercial space. So we have been lucky that we are in the CBDs. Some of the government user departments need to be in the CBDs. And so far it is a cushion, but I don't think it's going to be a cushion for too long.
Yeah, it really is quite interesting to see this race to the bottom also in the property sector, because of course we know that has been very common in the retail sector. So quite a difficult backdrop that companies are operating under at this point. And just lastly, Bongi, as we wrap up the conversation in terms of capital expenditure, your allocation, what will that be focused on in the short to medium term?
In the short term, we're focusing on retention of our tenants, ensuring that they have that enjoyable user experience. We are focusing on a lot of the buildings, we're focusing on giving them undisrupted power. So generators for us is big, but we're very careful in that provision that we have the ability to also collect for consumption. And then the other part of it is just your general repair and maintenance, and be proactive about it instead of more reactive.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and giving us more insight on those numbers that came out of Delta earlier on this morning. Bongi, really appreciate it. That was the CEO of Delta Property Fund, Bongi Masinga.